Welcome to the channel and welcome to the first of two videos today. And first up, the question: if you had £200 million to spend like Frank Lampard would this summer, who would you spend it on to build your Chelsea dream team next season? Let's get cracking. If this is your first time here, then make sure you check out the channel, smash the like button for me and try and get over 100 likes or even maybe 200 likes on this video, and then subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, to make sure you don't miss out any content that comes out from my channel. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications also. So into this video and Chelsea's £200 million kitty for next season. If you had 200 million, who would you sign? Now think of the players we're being linked with. Think of the likes of transfer fees that are being touted to try and sign these players, and we have to be realistic. That's the important thing to consider here. You need to be realistic with who you think Chelsea will be able to sign next season and who will still be here next season. Now I think for the most part, bearing in mind how far we've come this season with the youngsters and how they've progressed and how they've embedded into our first team squad, and for quite a few of them made the positions their own in the team, I think we're not far off, and I think it only needs 3 players in the summer for us to try and sign. Now, of course, people are going to talk Jadon Sancho. There's reports that Dortmund want 130, 140 million euros for him. Far too expensive. Plus, he looks as though he's got his heart set on a move to Man United. So do we rule Sancho out of the equation? I think in the fact that we're looking at 3 players for 200 million, it will give you an inclination that yes, I'm going to rule that out. Jadon Sancho is a no. Looking at our team currently, the goalkeeper position, I still think Kepa's got a future. So Kepa stays as my number 1. I think Willy Caballero will be given a year's extension just to stay on. Right back is a position which I think won't change. I think you're going to have Reece James and Cesar Azpilicueta next season. I think Reece James has made that position his own, and I think he'll continue to do so. And I think Reece James gets the nod as the number 1 with Azpi as the backup next year. Despite all the transfer speculation, and despite all the transfer speculation regarding Andreas Christensen, I believe the same 4 centre-backs will be here next season. Rudiger, Zuma, Tomori, Christensen. I don't think there's any change there. So to the left-back position, and this is where the money will be spent. The very first part of that £200 million budget will be spent, and it will be Ben Chilwell that comes in. It's one of 2. It's Chilwell or Telles, and I think Chilwell will get the nod for a number of reasons. I think he gets the nod because he's English and it builds up the English contingent within the squad. I think he's going to be signed ahead of Telles, Alex Telles, because he's got Premier League experience already. He's tried and trusted. He's already proven himself. He's already in the England team playing for England based on his performances for Leicester in the Premier League. And I think that Chelsea will be able to get him signed with a done deal for around 50 to 60 million. So Ben Chilwell is the first player that I believe comes into the squad for money this summer. Now the backup to Chilwell I think will be Marcos Alonso, because Emerson's going to leave the club. I think it's clear he's going to go back to Italy. It was reported that Juve and Napoli want to sign him. So Emerson will go, and I think Alonso will stay because he offers Chelsea the option as the wing back. I know Chilwell does to a point, but Alonso does also. And that's why I think, because he's flexible, I think Alonso will stay, Emerson will go, and Chilwell's the first signing. So to our midfield, no change from this season. And that's what's good, and that's what's exciting. As long as the likes of N'Golo Conte and Jorginho remain at the club and don't ask for moves away. Now Conte, heavily linked with Real Madrid, apparently they're not going to be able to sign him, which is strange, but hopefully Conte wants to stay and prove himself again, having had the injury-prone season that he's had so far. And Jorginho, even though his agent I think is talking up a move back to Italy to go and relink with or join up again with Sarri, I can't see that happening. So it'll be a midfield 3 next season. Conte in front of that back 4 as the number 1 in front of the back 4, with Jorginho as the backup to him. That gives us the alternative. When we're playing against the so-called lesser teams, you might start with Jorginho there, Conte further forward. But I think when push comes to shove in the big games next season, Conte will line up in front of the back 4. So that's him and Jorginho as 2 of the 6. So to the 2 midfielders alongside Conte that will start next season, and this is where it's exciting for me. Mateo Kovacic has been outstanding all season long. He's been absolutely brilliant. Player of the season to this point. That's if the season stops or if it gets going again. For me, Kovacic is above and beyond anybody else. I think he's been brilliant. So Kovacic will start as alongside Conte, and I think it'll be Ruben Loftus-Cheek next season. Loftus-Cheek has got immense potential, immense ability. He glides across that pitch, and in that box-to-box role, I think you'll find that Loftus-Cheek will have the main starting berth next to Kovacic and Conte. It'll be a battle between Loftus-Cheek and Mason Mount for that position, and I wonder if Loftus-Cheek comes in and starts performing straight from the off and shows everyone exactly what he's capable of, Mason Mount will have a fart in his hands to get into the team. So that's Mason Mount, Loftus-Cheek. So second fiddle to Mateo Kovacic in that position, it will be Ross Barkley. I don't think Billy Gilmour's quite ready for a whole season in the Premier League. You might see him go to the Championship on loan next season, and then possibly a move to the Premier League on loan to maybe 2 years to see Billy Gilmour come into the team ready to play first team football every single week for Chelsea. So Gilmour's out the equation for me, despite how impressive he has been. So Ross Barkley will pay the backup to Mateo Kovacic and provide competition for Kovacic in that area. So that's the 6 midfielders next year. No change for me. Conte, Jorginho, Kovacic, Barkley, Loftus-Cheek, Mason Mount. So this is where we start spending some more of that money, and we've already spent about 50 million, 60 million on Ben Chilwell. So out wide, I think Willian and Pedro are both going. I think that's clear. Pedro will go to Roma, he'll go either back to Spain. Atletico Madrid were touted ages ago with being linked with him. If not, Roma in Italy, who are interested in offering him a contract for quite big money. And I can see Pedro going. When it comes to Willian, God forbid that he does leave. If he does leave, then God forbid again that he doesn't go to Tottenham. But I think the link to Mourinho will be prominent, and I think he will go to Tottenham. We're just going to have to face it and get used to the idea. So Willian and Pedro go. So we've got 4 positions in the wide areas. 2 positions out wide with backups included. And don't forget, we've already signed Hakim Ziyech. Ziyech's already in. And you can imagine he's going to come in and be the number 1. So who plays alongside him supporting the striker? Now for me, in my own personal view, I think Christian Pulisic is there. I think Pulisic has impressed enough this season to get the nod, and he will start up top alongside Hakim Ziyech next year, with the backup being Callum Hudson-Odoi for Pulisic. I don't think Hudson-Odoi is quite there for week in, week out Premier League football. I think he needs to do a little bit more. That's just my opinion. He's already shown in glimpses that he can be brilliant. He can beat players, he can create, and he can score goals. He needs to do it more consistently to get ahead of Christian Pulisic for me, who was outstanding. On the other side is where I think we spend the next part of our 200 million, and it'll be around 80 million, I believe, in a deal that's for Philippe Coutinho. I think Coutinho will come in and he will provide immediate competition for places and gives Chelsea flexibility to switch to a 4-2-3-1 with a number 10 behind the striker, with Mount and Coutinho fighting maybe for that position. The deal I'm talking about with Coutinho, there's talk that Chelsea will take him on loan for 1 year, have to pay a fee to get him to do that, and then sign him for around 50 million at the end of that year's loan. In total, you're looking at about 80 million. So with Chilwell and Coutinho, that's 140 million spent of our 200, which just leaves the striker position. I think Michy Batshuayi is gone. I think he's going to go at the end of the season, and Crystal Palace is still interested in him. There's other sides that are interested in him, and I wonder where he'll end up. But I think it's clear he's not done enough for Frank Lampard to cement his place in the team for next season. Unfortunately, Batshuayi's gone. So that leaves Tammy Abraham and Olivier Giroud. Now Giroud, there's talk he could have another contract, another year or 2 years maybe. There was reports that he'd agreed a deal with Inter Milan and they'd offered him 2 years. I wonder if Chelsea will offer him a 2-year deal and if he'll sign it. Hopefully he will, and he'll be there to give Chelsea the option of the target man if they need it. Someone that's strong enough to hold the ball up, play other people in, and just be that link man. Then you've got Tammy, who's going to be the number 1 next season without question because of his achievements so far. But we need competition for Tammy, and there's all sorts of talk at the moment regarding goal scorers. There's Lautaro Martinez, the Argentine, next Sergio Aguero, being touted by the likes of Hernan Crespo and other people, but he's got his heart set on a move to Barcelona. And then if he doesn't go there, I think the lure of Man City will be too great and he'll go to Man City. I can't see him coming to Chelsea. Despite Chelsea and City offering big money and Chelsea matching City, I think he's going to go. I think we're third choice. That's the opinion I get when you keep reading these comments and the speculation. So, Timo Werner, RB Leipzig. If he gets the opportunity, will he sign for Chelsea or Liverpool if both options are presented to him? I think he'll go Liverpool. I think to work with Jurgen Klopp, who's also German like he is, and Klopp being the charismatic manager that he is, I think that Werner will go to Liverpool to try and provide competition up front for Firmino. So I think Chelsea will miss out on Werner. So I think Chelsea will look and will sign the long-term target, which is Moussa Dembele from Celtic, and there's a fee report between 50 and 60 million, which takes us to 190 or bang on 200 million for next season. I think Dembele has got a proven record in Scotland. Whether he can do it or not in the Premier League is yet to be seen, but given the opportunity at Chelsea with the players around him, Ziyechs, the Pulisic's, the Hudson-Odois, the Coutinho's, the possibilities could be endless. And that is a big selling point for Chelsea for next season, the youngsters and people like that. And I think that Dembele will sign. So that's the 3 players for 200 million, which will bolster our squad next year. But we can now come to the dream starting 11 next season. Now this is mine, and you'll see on the graphic that's going to feature, you're going to see the starting 11, and then I'm going to produce the backup 11. But this is the dream starting 11 for me. In goal, you got Kepa, Reece James right back, Rudiger, Tomori, Chilwell, Conte, Loftus-Cheek, Kovacic, Ziyech, Pulisic and Tammy Abraham. That is my dream 11 for next season. And I think the backup 11 is this: Caballero, Azpilicueta, Zuma, Christensen, Alonso, Jorginho, Barkley, Mount, Coutinho, Hudson-Odoi, Dembele. Let me know what you think about my suggestions, where I believe we're going to spend that money, and would you do it any differently? And is your dream 11 and backup 11 any different to mine? Let me know all your comments in that description below. Make sure you post away. Make sure you then subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss any of my videos that come out. This is the first of 2 videos today coming out, so make sure you look out for the second one later. Stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe. See you later.